At the assembly level, we have some cool new features in V9. Let's start by right-clicking on the unfinished back and selecting Properties. Now, if I go to the Finish tab, we can see that there are a few more options for us to choose from. We can, starting in version 9, select not only the color of the front face, back face, edges, and end, but we can even change the texture as well. While we're in here, let's click on the New Molding button and look at something new here. We can see that with version 9, we can now change the material whenever we make a new molding. Last but not least, we need to move over to the section editor. Here, we want to double click on a door and then section that door. You can't see it yet, but if we click on, let's say this left style here, you can see that we can now change the material and finish for each part of a door. Finally, for the assembly level, we have the ability to hide user-added parts from various views. Let's take this cabinet as an example. You can see that I added a small panel right here. If I go to the orthographic view of the cabinet, I can right-click on the part and select Properties. We can immediately see the new Layout Visibility group that has been added for version 9. With this, we can hide this part in either the plan, elevation, or perspective view, or 3D view as you may know it more commonly. Let's check the Hide in Plan option, then click OK. If we now go back to the plan view, we can see that the part is no longer visible to us. If we move over to the elevation, however, we can see that the part is still visible. Several great new features have been added to the Assembly Wizard of Cabinet Vision version 9. Let's start this off by looking at the new banding capabilities. That's right, I said banding in regards to the Assembly Wizard. So starting with version 9, whenever you edit a part in the Assembly Wizard, you will be asked first how you want banding assigned to that part. The next new feature I want to go over is in the same section, so let me just move ahead a few steps. And here it is. This may not look new to you, and it really isn't. Basically, what this is an enhancement to current functionality. Previously, when you specified the face-up-down orientation of a top, it applied to full tops only. Now it applies to all top types. Another feature that isn't just fixed to the tops, rather, this applies to many other parts, is, well, let me show you. Okay, so where the top and the unfinished end join together, we can now specify a miter joint as opposed to only butt joints. And again, this applies to many areas where joints would be made. To take a look at the next feature, let me cancel out of this. Now I can expand the operations section and take a look at my assembly boring. One might say this section is a little boring. Version 9 adds a little more excitement to it though. You can see that I have the Yes Hardware option selected. This is a new feature to version 9.0. Basically, this allows you to select a hardware material that would be created in the Parts Manager. Once you've selected your connector type, you will be able to define its location along the edge of a part as if it were a single hole. Think of each boring hole you define as a single type of the connector that you selected. Next, I will cancel out of this and go into my line boring section. Now, there's a bunch of filler that's between us and the new features, so I will just fast forward over that. Okay, so this isn't the feature yet. This was here in the last version as well, but if I now tell Cabinet Vision that I want to define a max space between line boring columns, then go to the next option, we see that this next option is the new feature. We can now define a specific depth for line boring for our backs. We can also specify a different depth for clip backs as well. The last feature that I want to go over in the Assembly Wizard requires me to cancel out of this section, then change my construction type to a face frame construction. Okay, now I want to go back to the assembly boring section, and I need to skip ahead a little bit to get to the part of the wizard that I want. And here we have it. As you can see, I can now outline construction boring for my face frame from within the Assembly Wizard. Once we select Yes, Bore Construction Holes, we can define the parameters for them as we would with any other construction boring. The new features in the Bid Center include a new Vendor's View, that can be used to select the various vendors that have been applied to each material. There are several preset selection criteria, as well as the ability to select vendors manually. Once vendors are selected, the totals are shown so that you can order your materials more effectively. Next, if we go into the Bid Center reports, we will find several new report variables available to us. There are approximately 48 or so new ones, along with bid method options, so I recommend that you take a moment to look at them in your help files. Now I just want to say thank you for taking the time to watch this video on the new features of Cabinet Vision Solid version 9.0. If you need any additional information, please visit us at www.cabinetvision.com to learn more about Cabinet Vision.